Hero's Path, here to talk about honey badgers, this most archaic, most primitive part of our psyche. And this is one of my favorite parts of the psyche. It's probably one of your favorite parts of the psyche, but if you're like me, you probably have kept it locked up for a while. And we have been trained from a young age to domesticate this badger, this part of the psyche. Now, why is it important for us to reclaim and to bring out the badger? Why is that important? Well, history would indicate that the badger has been on the front lines for 99.6% of human history. So enough said right there. Now, why have we as a civilization locked up this guy? Well, because he gets us in a lot of trouble. And there's a lot of liability that can come with him. But if you know anything about honey badgers, like the real honey badgers in real life, if you try to lock them up, they will do whatever it takes to get out of that prison. They'll pick up rocks and build a ladder. They're not meant to be caged, and we are not meant to be caged. But because we are living in civilizations and we live in society with technology, we're always at war with this. But so many of our mental disturbances spring from this honey badger being locked up. Let's talk a little bit about this guy. Okay, so the honey badger is the part of us that has no morality. It's pure animal. It operates on instincts. It operates on feelings, on needs, on wants. And this might sound like our cultural response to this is, oh man, you're being so selfish. But developmentally, if we didn't have a honey badger for 99.6% of human history, would we even be alive? And of course the answer is no. So one illustration I use to try to explain the absolute importance of the honey badger is to tell you the story of Slim Jim. Slim Jim, imagine Slim Jim. Slim Jim was in a Native American tribe way back in the days when there were tribes. Now, let's say Slim Jim had a little sweet tooth and he broke into the winter provision where all the otter jerky, all the beef jerky, all the food, all the nuts, all the stuff that they had saved up for the tribe to survive. Let's say he went in there with his big fingers and ate all the jerky and came out with jerky in his teeth. And let's say he came and then Chief Uncle Wonka was like, the head chief was like, dude, what are you doing? He was like, I was hungry. What would happen to Slim Jim? And when I tell this story to people are just like, oh my gosh, he'd be dead, his tongue cut out, something like that. And I would say, yeah, probably. You'd probably be exiled from the tribe. Now, the question I have would that be a mean or an immoral thing for Chief Uncle Wonka to do? And the answer is no, it would not be. Because for that tribe to survive, for that tribe not to go extinct, for the future generations to continue on, there needed to be that sense of respect for the rules of the tribe. And so for us to do that, so as we move forward, when we're dealing with primitive issues, honey badger-like issues, addictions, out of control behavior, abusive behavior, we need to think like Chief Uncle Wonka. Now, what if Chief Uncle Wonka was a little ahead of his time, thinking like a green person, a postmodern? Let's say old Chief Uncle Wonka had a big heart. And he was like, Slim Jim, I know you're hungry, and we're all hungry, and I'm going to give you a pass. Would that tribe survive into the next generation if that was kind of the moral kind of center of that tribe? The answer is no. They would probably all die. What if he just used reason and used science and used just good old-fashioned logical talking with Slim Jim, and that was the approach, thinking he could use good reason to say, don't do that again, why'd you do that? Would that work? No, because then the next generation, the next winter, would do the same thing. Now, in the soldier, if we just used punitive measures and just started cutting out tongues and just using guilt and shame to get him, would that get the message? No. So in other words, when we're dealing with issues, for the honey badger to become a German Shepherd, for us to move out of the exploration phase into this phase, there needs to be a healthy level of fear. There needs to be a healthy level of adrenaline. We need that adrenaline to developmentally move into the next phase. Now, we all know this when we're driving down the road and we look over and see a cop. We feel that adrenaline, like, whew, that fear, oh no. We need that to move forward. So if you're gonna help somebody who's stuck in a bad honey badger pattern, they need to have a sense of reality, a sense of, okay, man, if you do this, then this will happen. They need that wake-up call, because that's going to empower them to not eat all the winter provisions. And so each of these stages needs different interventions based on the historical context. If you're dealing with primitive man, one context. Dealing with the religious kind of modern man, pre-modern man, another. If you're dealing with more intellectual issues, those things, and then the kind of giver, more postmodern, then we'll deal